Our battle is more full of names than words. Our men were perfect in use of arms. Our armor always strong, our clothes the best. Then reasons with our hearts should be as good. My name is Forid Uddin. Those lines I have quoted from Shakespeare called a nation to a war dedicated to peace. War sometimes sadness history, but war dedicated victory over goodness, victory of goodness over evil, right over wrong. Much glory attached to the act of winning and defeat one's enemy. In such a thought, I welcome you to our live show, 50th anniversary of Bangladesh independence. In today's episode, Channel 52 has invited some great individuals who are fighting every day to establish peace and comfort for their constituents. Dear audience, it's my honor to introduce you with our first guest who is representing 35th Legislative District in the New Jersey Senate since 2012, Senator Nelie Pou. Our second guest, who is serving as a Passaic County Board of County Commissioner, previously known as freeholder, since 2012, County Commissioner John Bartlett. Our next guest, man of action, Mayor of the great city of Paterson, Honorable Mayor Anand Shah. Our next guest, who is always ready to get things done, Council Vice President, Dr. Lilisa Mimms. And our very own, a successful business person and a great leader, Councilman Anand Shah. Thank you. The Bangladesh War of Independence, or the Bangladesh Liberation War, refers to an armed conflict between West Pakistan, now Pakistan, and East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, that lasted for roughly 9 months in 1971. The war resulted in Bangladesh independence from Pakistan. The atrocities committed by Pakistan occupation forces on the night of March 25th and early hours of the next day on unarmed Bengalis ultimately led to a war of liberation. It was proved that there would be no negotiation. The dark night prompted Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman to declare the independence of Bangladesh the very next day on March 26, 1971. It sparked the 9-month-long Bangladesh Liberation War. Towards the end of the war, India invaded East Pakistan in support of the East Pakistani people and their forces. This led more than 93,000 Pakistani troops to surrender, the largest number since World War II. Today, Bangladesh is a sovereign and independent country, officially People's Republic of Bangladesh. On this glorious day, I am requesting our guests to express their messages to the people of Bangladesh, those who are living in the United States. First of all, I'm going to request Senator Nelie Pou to express your greetings.
Thank you. Thank you once again. I'm very humble and honored to be with you all today. And again, let me express my deep appreciation and honor that I feel for being asked to participate in this program celebrating the Bangladesh Independence Day. And in particular, to be given a chance to join millions of others in paying my respect to the war martyrs who sacrificed their lives in the name of resistance and independence 50 years ago. It is certainly my hope that younger generations of those Bangladeshi descent can look back with pride and continue to draw inspiration from these courageous and selfless acts. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator, for being with us today on our
Thank you.
special day. At this point, I'm requesting Mayor Anand Sayegh to express your greetings for our Bangladeshi community living in the city of Paterson or in neighbor cities.
Assalamu alaikum. Come on out, Commissioner. And I want to start off by saying that you are one of the best appointments that I've ever made. You're serving us with integrity and intelligence on the planning board, and we appreciate your dedication to the residents of Paterson. And I also would like to express my gratitude for your magnanimity. You've been hosting clothing drives, and they've been going very well. In fact, I've been there to witness them in person. So thank you for being so compassionate during a time of chaos, confusion, and uncertainty. And I want to congratulate the Bangladeshi community on a hard-fought independence. I mean, we all know that March 26, 1971 is when it started, and then it ended December 16, 1971. And that's why we raise the Bangladeshi flag every December 16th in commemoration of independence. And you see the flag, the green represents the fertile ground of Bangladesh, and the red sun, the blood that was shed to achieve liberation in 1971, 50 years ago. And we are a better city because people from Bangladesh, whether it came from Sylhet, where most of our residents came from, or Dhaka to a lesser extent, we're a better city because Bangladeshis call Paterson home. And we're very appreciative of the fact that you have been a positive presence in our commercial corridors like Union Avenue, where I was yesterday, and I went to Deshi Restaurant, some of the best biryani you can ever eat with mango lassi. And our schools, you see some of us, our highest achievers are from Bangladeshi families. Then our neighborhoods, you can see that they have Bangladeshi families that are raising their children here in the city of Paterson. And so we're proud. We're very proud that we had an opportunity to rename a portion of Union Avenue Bangladesh Boulevard so that we could show that we are profoundly grateful for Bangladeshi Americans coming here. And recently we dedicated the new Buckley Park, $1 million renovation, so you can have more space. And you have been a Hinchliffe Stadium supporter as well. So I want to make sure we accommodate your league. We're always at Pennington Park for your grand opening and then your closing ceremonies. So we just want to let you know that, again, we're better because Bangladeshi Americans call Paterson home. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor. Definitely, and Bangladesh community found a home away from home, and they love to stay here in the city of Paterson. No other cities has that taste of Paterson. So, Mayor, thank you for all the nice words, and thank you for making the Bangladeshi community to turning to mainstream politics. Thank you for all that you have done so far.
Thank you.
Our next honorable guest, I'm going to go to County Commissioner John Bartlett, who is very close to the Bengali community. And we are talking about the last census 2020. You have done,
Yes.
and you have been very close to every single family living in the city of Paterson.
That's right. Thank you very much, Farid. First of all, congratulations to the entire community on this Independence Day. The big ones, like the 50th, which we're celebrating this year, are extra special because they mark those big milestones. In fact, the United States is just 5 years away from marking 250 years of independence in 2026. And New Jersey was part of that story. Passaic County was part of that story as Washington's headquarters in 1780. And it's such a pleasure for us to be the headquarters now of this vibrant, wonderful Bangladeshi community that is part of not just Paterson, as the mayor said so eloquently, but also of so many more of our Passaic County towns. And just as you're thriving and excelling in the professions and in business and in education, you are doing the same at the level of Passaic County. And I couldn't be prouder of the community. It's not lost on me that we're sort of in a season of celebration right now. It was just a few weeks ago that we recognized Mother Language Day. And just a few weeks from now, the holy month of Ramadan will begin. So this is a moment for the community to really come together and appreciate what it has accomplished, what it means to the city and the county that it calls home, and also what that message and that experience of 50 years ago and the shaheeds, the martyrs that were part of the independence struggle in 1971, what lessons can we take forward for the Bangladeshi community here in Passaic County right now. Being a servant and being a leader doesn't look now like it did 50 years ago in Bangladesh, but there are some profound and wonderful ways that members of this community can step up and be leaders in the wider community. And Forid, I think you're a terrific example. You mentioned Census 2020. As we talk about a mother language, you and so many others were part of a team that made sure that the Bangla-speaking community knew about the census, knew why it mattered, and that we got you counted. So for that and for everything else that all of our viewers make part of this wonderful, diverse county of ours, thank you and congratulations.
Thank you, County Commissioner. Thank you for making me and other Bengali individuals be part of the Census Committee. And we are so happy to have you here today on Channel 52 special episode today. And our next guest, Council Vice President Dr. Lilisa Mimms, who is very close to Bengali community. I think she's getting invitation to come to the dinner or lunch. That kind of close. If we may come up with a list of the guests we should invite, and Dr. Lilisa Mimms is one of them. Dr. Lilisa Mimms.
I do appreciate it because you are absolutely right. I was in El Basha today, so you're absolutely right. So I just want to say one thing about being the person that speaks forth. Everyone says what you want to say, so you could just kind of say ditto 3 times and then add a little bit to it. So I want to first say happy 50th Independence Day to a great, great community, which I call family, our Bangladesh brothers and sisters. What really amazed me when I studied the history of the Liberation War was that the junta militant strategists put together a strategy called Operation Searchlight. I was like, wow, what does that mean when it comes to the independence of this great community? You think about a light. It takes things that are dark and expels it. A light also illuminates things that were hidden, and it also provides freedom to those that were in dark places. So I think it was the perfect strategy that was put in place. I think this is one of our great communities of the great city of Paterson. We have over 70 different nationalities here. But I'm learning to say some words. I don't know them all. I'm learning to recognize different meals. I don't know them all, but it is really amazing because coming from my mom and being a part of our educational system for a very, very long time, it was an honor for me to provide scholarships for about 15 years now. And every year, your community were the ones that were the recipients of the Dr. Mimms scholarship program, and working with Commissioner with the volleyball and Channel 52 when it first got started, way before all this great technology was in place, and so many others, and Councilman Shah, my colleagues on the council, Councilman Khalid, Councilman Abdulaziz. So just learning and meeting so many wonderful people, learning your culture, experiencing some of your experiences, because some of the things that you've experienced, we have done it in our culture as well. And we have to learn how to embrace each other's cultures and be able to work together, because my favorite slogan, I believe we're better together. Thank you so much.
Councilman, you are very right. And thank you for being here. And we are better together. Our next guest, our very own Councilman Anand Shah.
Thank you. First and foremost, assalamu alaikum to our elders, our brothers and sisters out there. Hope everyone's doing well. Greetings to you, Commissioner. Thank you for all your hard work and dedication. Congratulations, Commissioner Uddin, on your recent appointment on the planning board. And I want to remind all the guests and the viewers that are in, Commissioner Uddin is not just recently appointed, but he has put a lot of time and hard work and dedication, like our Honorable Mayor Sayegh said. And I want to remind everyone, he volunteers his time. To my understanding, he doesn't get paid for doing anything, for doing any of these activities. He's doing this from the heart to make sure the communities rise together, like our Honorable Council Vice President just said, to rise together. So thank you for your hard work and dedication with volleyball, with soccer, and putting the program together and being our host today. I also want to just greetings to say hello and hi. It's been a long time because of our pandemic, to our Honorable, one of my favorite senators, Senator Pou. Glad to see you. Our Honorable Mayor Sayegh, our Honorable County Commissioner Bartlett. It's always an honor and pleasure. And last but not least, our Council Vice President, Dr. Lilisa Mimms. Thank you for all you guys are doing. And Channel 52, thank you for having me on. And I know behind the scenes, Farah and Anand, who organizes the show, you guys also do a great job. And never forget, moment. So thank you behind the scenes as well to you and the Channel 52. And I know you guys are also rising. And today is a very important day, like all my previous colleagues have said, alongside with them. Happy 50th anniversary Bangladesh Independence Day. All the brothers and sisters, keep up the good work. You guys have a heartfelt fought throughout many years and many more years to come. And like Honorable Mayor always talks about Paterson, let me chime in a little bit about Prospect Park in my town. I think on the Bengali side, we have representation now, I could gladly say, on every aspect. We have a Bengali police officer on Prospect Park Police Department. We have a Bengali reputation on the Board of Education. We have the first ever, recently, Bengali Councilman, Mohammed Surman, on the council. So if you look at all the aspects in Prospect Park, Bengali representation is there. And the reason why is because the community is growing. They want to have a voice, which I totally understand. I agree with. And you guys, and also, Farah Babi, I'm going to mention her and put her on the spot. She's one of my Bengali employees that works in my Clifton store recently, that about a month ago, in one of my Subways in Clifton. So we have representation in Subway. We have representation in Prospect Park. We have representation going on. So you guys are growing. You guys are moving in like no tomorrow. Prospect Park is always a welcoming city, just like Paterson, Haledon. And you guys are coming in, buying the houses, and we appreciate it. And not only that, you guys are also every day, every couple days, I'm hearing and seeing on Facebook, becoming citizens, which is all great, and the next generation. So thank you for having me on. And from the bottom of my heart, happy 50-year anniversary to the Bangladesh Independence Day. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Councilman Anand, for being with us today. And your words made me compare my face with the red circle behind me. You can see right there. So thank you for being here. Thank you for all the kind words. Viewers, as you all know, that Bangladeshi immigrants have arrived in the United States in large number since early 1970s, and one of the fastest growing ethnic communities since that decade. And Paterson and neighbor cities became a home of many Bangladeshi immigrants since then. Now, my first question to our honorable guest, that what is your vision or plan to improve and support cultural literacy and affirming diversity in our cities, in our schools? And I'm going to start with our Mayor, Sayegh. You're mute.
I want to dovetail on what my esteemed colleague from the North, Councilman Anand Shah, was saying about bragging about Prospect Park and Bangladeshi representation. In addition to Commissioner Forid Uddin, we have another Bangladeshi American on the planning board that I was proud to appoint. That's Kabir Ahmed.
Yes.
And then we also have, for the first time, I appointed a Bangladeshi American deputy mayor, and that's Firdaus Hussain. And then we have on the Friends of Paterson Parks, I appointed Imran Hussain, who turned out to be a great aide for an excellent councilman emeritus, Gilman Chowdhury. Then I was proud to appoint the first woman to serve on a board or commission in the city of Paterson, our very own Amber Hawk. So we're doing our best to make sure that our representatives reflect the population that they serve. And earlier, Commissioner Bartlett mentioned Ramadan, and we're a few weeks away. And I'm proud to announce that Councilman Abdulaziz and I will be co-hosting an event to light the fanus, which is a symbol of the season, on Sunday, April 11th, in honor of the upcoming holiday. And then we will have our second annual, although we didn't have it due to the pandemic last year, second annual community iftar at City Hall, where on May 3rd, we will be breaking fast with all of our brothers and sisters, and you're all invited for that event as well. So I feel like we need to continue to tell the story, make sure we encourage these young people that are graduating, valedictorian, salutatorian, that come from Bangladeshi homes, to come back to Paterson. You're an ambassador for our city wherever you go, whatever institution of higher learning you decide to attend, whether it's Harvard or Seton Hall. We want you to come back, and we want you to be teachers. We want you to be elected officials. We want you to serve on boards and commissions. And always know that that is part of my vision, to ensure that we empower a burgeoning part of our population, the Bangladeshi community. Thank you.
Mayor Anand, thank you very much. And I proudly can say that if I take a look at the picture of the City Hall, I can see more diversity now than ever before. after you were, took the office, I can see more diversity came. And I do appreciate that you have included Bengali commissioners, so many commissioners in one term that never happened in the history of Paterson. And thank you so very much from the bottom of my heart. And I do believe that the Bangladeshi community appreciate that as well. Before I go to the county level or state level, I'm going to go to Councilwoman Dr. Lilisa Mimms. What is your vision to make sure that we have the, and you also served, let me mention that you also served in a Board of Education. So my question to you, how can we and what can we do to make sure that our children who are going to schools getting the support that they can expose their culture, their tradition, and they're getting the lesson in the school and getting the environment where they can expose themselves. They can make other children, other students educate about their culture. Dr. Lilisa Mimms.
That's a great question. And so I think we learn from each other, right? There is an old proverb that says, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. And I think we take turns. Sometimes we're the teacher, sometimes we're the student. So I think there's learning opportunities and moments of understanding or moments of just being quiet where we can get to learn from each other. I'm always amazed at the educational excellence of your community, how they learn, how early do you start off? Is it when they're in the womb? Or are you reading books while they're in the belly? Or you're waiting until they're 1 year old and they're speaking and they're learning? And each culture is different, when I talk to different cultures, but I think we have to learn and embrace where there are educational excellence, training or teachings. We have to say, well, how did they do that? And then on the other side, some skill or talent or ability that's working in another culture that we work together to get it done. Also by being a part of what's happening, right? Understanding the leaders of your community. And I heard Councilman Shah said, before he gave greetings, he said to the elders, right? I really respect and honor your community because nothing moves without the elders' approval. I really highly respect that. I'm a woman that was raised that way, that I learned from my elders. So there's just some things with me and my mom, I just don't say in front of my mother out of respect. So I've always honored that. I've said that to Councilman Shah many times, how I respect that even if you're going to run for office, you have to go to the elders. If you're going to do something, you're going to go to the elders, but you will never disrespect the elders. And I love the camaraderie of what's happening. And then you have meetings and you come together and you work alongside of, and then even so many different things with your business acumen, your love for the community, the great cuisine, and then the attire. I don't know if people have ever seen the beautiful attire of the women. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. I've been waiting for years, hint, hint, Councilman Shah, for a wonderful, wonderful outfit. I remember going to meet Iman Kansanani one time, and I went in and I did not have a jihad. And I went in and they were like, you got to have a jihad. And I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So then I went out and they put one on and it slid off my hair because my hair was like silky that day. And I was talking and it was sliding down my shoulder. And I will never forget it. So every time I see him, we laugh about that. But it's out of respect. And so I really appreciate your culture. I know how to pin my jihad perfectly now so that I'll be able to respect when I'm sitting in those meetings or before your great community. So it's just an honor that we understand and we value each other because respect goes a long way. Thank you.
Councilwoman Dr. Mimms, thank you for all the words. And let me tell you, I'm coming to that question very soon as well, that we are learning from each other, but we want something in paper, something like how we celebrate Hispanic Heritage Day. Can we do something for Bangladeshi community, which is on the calendar? So I'm coming to that question. Before I go to my next question, I'm going to go to my other guests to make sure that I cover the question I asked, you and Mayor Andesai. I'm going to go to Councilman Anand Shah first. Councilman Anand Shah, you are representing Borough of Prospect Park. Well, let me tell you something, that if you think about the Bangladeshi community living in your city, that there are actually extended family who were used to live in Paterson. So if you ask them, they are really tight with Paterson. And again, I'm telling you, they are going to school there.
Yes.
And they are living there. So it's kind of like same families, it's just extending, the neighbor cities. What's your plan? What you're going to do to make sure that to make sure that everyone is learning about each other's culture, and we can see more diversity and affirming diversity in your town.
Thank you, Honorable Commissioner. And I think you hit the nail on the coffin. You said it well said. Before I get to your question, Honorable Mayor, I think he's off, or he might just be slightly taking a little break. But I just want to get back to the Honorable Mayor because he brought back Paterson. I want to add back to Prospect Park. I think we have representation everywhere. And I forgot to mention also in the municipal building, we have 2 Bangladeshi employees that are working. As you guys know, the youngest borough administrator, Intishan Chowdhury, as well as the admin, Beauty Nadeem. So I want to add that as well. So I think on all levels in Prospect Park, at the Board of Education, we have Bangladesh representation. Police Department, we have Bangladesh representation. Municipal building as well. School number 1 as well. So I think we covered it and we understand the diversity. I think our mayor understands it and our council colleagues understand it. And we understand that the families are moving in, like you just said. But going back to your question, Commissioner, it's a great question as well. So I think all of the speakers so far, our Honorable Mayor, our Honorable Council Vice President Mimms, have shared important key points to help improve culture literacy within our communities. If I had to add on to that, I will start by recommending training for all local government official and law enforcement officers. It's important that we educate ourselves with cultural practices, and we can't do that without taking the appropriate time to learn about them. When we focus on improving cultural literacy, awareness, we talk about improving unity, communication, and overall an environment where diversity is embraced and respected. So that's the first answer to your question. And the second part of your question, Honorable Commissioner, for our education system, to answer that, we take our time to revise and revamp the curriculum. Unfortunately, a lot of the curriculum today is still very dated. And I think Council Vice President will probably agree with me because she was on the Board of Education. Here is an example. Over the summertime, I went to a rally for Black Lives Matter in Wayne, where County Commissioner Bartlett is from, in Wayne. And when I went to that rally that was held in Wayne, there was a young girl there, and she was talking about the curriculum within her high school. Something that stood out to me that was she wasn't there to complain, but she was there to talk about all the changes that her influence had brought. This young girl saw a need for diverse material in her literature class and took the appropriate steps to contact the Board of Education and ask for materials that increased diversity and awareness. Our kids and our youth are speaking and asking for a change, and it's important that we listen to them. So that's my answer to your second part of the question, Commissioner, and I think it's very important questions that you're asking. So thank you, obviously, for the question.
Thank you, Councilman. And I'm going to move to our county level at this point. And Commissioner John Bartlett, I'm coming to you. That that we say that Bangladeshi community living in Paterson. That's true that majority numbers are here in Paterson. But if you think about the entire Passaic County, no county is missing actually Bengali community, population. So everywhere in Passaic County we have Bangladeshis living. So what's your plan? What you can do from as a county commissioner to make sure that we all know about each other's culture? And I believe you can do a lot from the building you are representing yourself. So what's your plan as a county commissioner to do to make sure that all cultures are embraced, including Bangladeshi cultures?
Well, Forid, you're absolutely right. I'm not going to try and compete with Andre and Anand by rattling off a list of names. I'm going to take a little credit for Intishan Chowdhury, who we gave a scholarship way back when he was graduating from high school. He's moved on to great things. We've got a lot of folks that we are trying to nurture and be sure that they're involved. And one of the things that I think Passaic County and a lot of our localities can pat ourselves on the back for is we do make that effort. We've got people like Nelie Nellie Pou as the public information officer in Passaic County. We've got people like yourself, Forid, serving in various volunteer capacities. We've got people like Aziz Rahman serving on our Board of Social Services, and a host of other examples. I'm not going to just rattle off a list, but I think what you do need is elected officials like myself and my colleagues on the screen here who appreciate and value the communities that are part of the constituency and make sure that we're reaching out to them in an effective way. When I came on the board of freeholders almost 10 years ago, the first thing I did was I began an Asian Pacific American Heritage Month tradition. And actually the first person we honored was Ansar Ahmed, who unfortunately we lost this past year. But making sure that we recognize people, making sure when I served on the Board of Social Services that we started to do outreach and publish materials about the board services in Bengali, and to do the same thing as you and Neela were part of, Forid, with our census outreach, putting out videos, doing the special telethon that we did in conjunction with the U.S. Census Bureau and Channel 52 to give people the chance to pick up the phone and respond to the census in Bangla. Making that work a priority and making it a priority not just for the Bangladeshi community, but for our Gujarati speakers, for our Arabic speakers, for all the communities that are part of Passaic County, we need to do that. And if you're seeing us not do that, or if you're a viewer out there who lives in one of those 20 other counties in New Jersey, or even somewhere else in the United States or somewhere else in the world, come together with your community and advocate what you need. There's no substitute for any of us, from the senator to any of the other elected officials here on the screen, from just hearing from the community and saying, you know what, this is something that we need. And when the community came to us almost 10 years ago and said, you know what, we'd like to build a Shaheed Minar in Passaic County to recognize the history and the martyr struggle that is part of that Bangladeshi global story. That was something that we responded to. We wouldn't have known to, but for the community saying, you know what, this is something that's important to us. So my first step and my first suggestion to the community, if you're not seeing from us everything you want, or from your elected officials, wherever you may be, come together, make contact. Most people in public service are looking to help and respond to the communities that they serve.
Commissioner John Bartlett, thank you. And let me take this opportunity to thank you that in 2018, I did not know you in person. I got an email from you saying that, Forid, I want to recognize you because of your service. And I was kind of surprised getting your message from you that you want to recognize me. And that was totally different. That is the first time ever someone recognized me, and that was you. And thank you. And I do appreciate that. I'm still carrying that. And this is an encouragement and always pushing me to do better. Thank you.
Very well deserved.
And now I'm going to go to the state level, Senator Nelie Pou, that we believe that New Jersey is a tapestry of diversity. And what's your plan to envision to improve cultural literacy in the state of New Jersey? Because let me tell you something, it's not only Paterson or Clifton or Prospect Park. Even if you go to the other part of New Jersey, Atlantic City, you are going to find a big number of Bengali community living there. So what's your plan from the state level to make sure that our culture is embraced and respected?
Thank you, Commissioner. First of all, let me just say, I'm going to take a line from the Councilwoman earlier in the first question and say that for all the speakers before me, all I can do is say ditto at this point in time, because a lot of the important elements and factors and things that we need to do to overall in terms of our vision on how to improve and also create certain suggestions with cultural literacy and diversity, I can tell you, and I think we all know, and it certainly has been said by all the speakers before me, but before I take it to the state level, let me just also once again reiterate the fact that, as we all know, the Bangladeshi community is a thriving part of Paterson and Passaic County, and as you've just said, Commissioner, of the state of New Jersey as well, in so many parts where there is a growing population overall. And like many immigrant groups that have come to not only our city in Paterson and the county before them, the Bangladeshi have a unique story to tell. You've heard some of that be told today, but it's really, there's a unique story to tell. And we need to do that. We need to do it all. We need to do all that we can to knit this, culture with others who have found their place in our community in the decades preceding them, right? We do this by giving more emphasis to the Bangladeshi history in our schools. That's already been mentioned here. We do this by providing and putting greater emphasis in terms of our libraries and the stories that are told within the community. We do that in terms of making sure that our community, as well as our community centers, to be able to do that. And by making sure, and I think County Commissioner Bartlett made reference to this or alluded, making sure that we have Bengali translators that are available if needed in our culture, both in the financial and governmental institutions, and by making sure that the Bangladeshis are well represented at city, county, and statewide events. You've heard from every speaker before me in terms of all the various activities that are happening throughout the state, the city and the county. We need to make sure that that vibrant community, that rich culture, that beautiful, that the beauty of that culture is known not just to us, because we're proud of it, right? We live among all of them. We have our neighbors that we can speak to and talk about or learn from, or eat the various foods and learn their particular heritage. But we also need to make sure that that is passed on on a statewide level. And the way you do it is what we're doing today, is speaking about it, supporting it, embracing it, making sure that we have an opportunity to speak about the importance of the Bangladeshi community, and not only, again, in our city and our county, but throughout the state. It's the only way that it can be done. It's the way to get the message out, and it's the way for it to be truly supported and embraced by all of us speaking in that manner.
Thank you, Senator, for all the words you said, and you gave me a point to talk to our Honorable Mayor Andesai about translator, and you have created this point. I had not on my plate to ask this question, but thank you, Senator. I'm going to go to our Honorable Mayor Andesai. Mayor, so since we are talking about the message should be in Bengali language as well. So what we have noticed and came in my concern multiple times as well, that when we are sending messages in Bangla language, it's coming to Google Translation, which is sometimes, I would say 80% message doesn't cover Google Translation through channel 52. This is a chance for me to ask you this question and request you at the same time. Can we have someone who is professional Bengali translator to translate your English messages, which is important for our community, in Bangla, and not Google Translation, proper Bangla? Mayor Andesai. You're mute, Mayor.
I'm encouraged, Commissioner, you asked me that question, because I want to talk about the Shihad Minar that Commissioner Bartlett alluded to earlier. Every February 20th through the 21st, we stand out in the freezing cold and we pay proper tribute with flowers at that monument to the martyrs that lost their lives, to make sure that Bangla remained the official language of Bangladesh, and that Bangladeshis were not forced to speak Urdu, but they kept their mother tongue. So as you know, I value that Mother Language Day, and it is essential that we have translation in Bangla, someone who can do that, someone who's seasoned, someone who's well-versed in the language. And I'll take it a step further. I want to push for a Bangladeshi community center, a literary center, so that we can teach the language, we can teach the culture. And we should also make sure that on March 26th and December 16th, our schools, as a part of their curriculum, the students learn about liberation, what it's all about as far as independence is concerned with the Bangladeshi struggle, transitioning from East Pakistan to Bangladesh. So that's why, and I've seen Commissioner Bartlett there before at the Shihad Minar. He knows how cold it is on those nights, but it's worth it because people that lost their lives for the language, it's the least we could do to pay proper tribute to them. So we do need a Bangladeshi Cultural Academy, which I do support. I'll work with you and the others that we've appointed, and even our Prospect Park friends. We'll work with them as well. And of course, we'll have the support of Anand Chowdhury and the lovely Farah at Channel 52. Thank you.
Cold nights at the Shahid Minar and in the auditorium of JFK High School 1 or 2 years when I think we were there for a ceremony and nobody turned on the heat. I remember it well. You know, I think, Mayor, one of the things that you mentioned in talking about this notion of something in the curriculum presents a real opportunity for a diverse place like Paterson and Passaic County. There are common threads and common themes across so many of the communities whose flags we raise, so many of the communities whose Independence Days we celebrate, whether it's in March or whether it's in July or August. The opportunity for all of those students to see in one another and each other's parents and families and grandparents that narrative, that story of, you know, liberation abroad and opportunity as immigrants and second generation in this nation, it would be really something remarkable to put together as a curriculum. It really would be something else in a place like Passaic County.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you, Mayor Andesai. So here's my next question that I need to ask you about curriculum, and that Councilman Anand Shah also mentioned that the backdated curriculum, which is we are repeating over and over. That here's a question that is I think I should address all of you. I want to hear from all of you that since the diversity, we can see as of now in Paterson Public School more than 37 language speakers, and 4 or 5 of them are major language speakers, and Bengali is one of them. Bangla is one of the languages. So here's my question: that is there any way in the near future can we include Bangla language as one of the world language subject in our curriculum? I start from Mayor Andesai, and I would love to hear from all of you.
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. Just to reiterate my support, that is a resounding yes, for all the reasons that I mentioned relative to Mother Language Day, where I feel like that should be infused in the curriculum to see how individuals in Bangladesh had to struggle just to maintain their language, and they faced death. In fact, 5 individuals lost their lives February 20th, that fateful night into February 21st. And so in homage to them, that's what we should do here in the city of Paterson. I believe that a Bangladeshi Cultural Academy could help spearhead that, along with you, an educator at Kennedy High School, and of course the inimitable and incomparable Gilman Chowdhury, who could be a strong proponent for such an initiative.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to go to Councilwoman Dr. Lilisa Mimms.
And so when one does not understand a culture, it can easily misunderstand it or disrespect it. So that's why it's very important that we educate, empower, and enlighten on the different cultural differences. So I agree that there should be cultural awareness in the curriculums and in the school. But I just want to remind everyone that we do have a school that is named after Dr. Hani Abdallah in the city of Paterson, which I was on the school board when that took place. Really excited about that. That's a first start. But I'm also looking to recommend 2 things. A cultural diversity day in the schools, where in the schools, when schools open or if it's virtual, that you have flags of every culture all around the school in the corridors, and the history of the culture all around the school. And maybe in the lunch periods, there's different dishes that represent every culture so that there can be an opportunity of learning. in the schools, the school district. I commend them when they had concerns. I remember the students coming to our school board meetings where they had issues with the lunch. I am so happy that now the school district they're serving halal lunches in the school when the schools are open, and now they're distributing them. So that's a great thing, and I commend the school district for doing that. But also a cultural diversity festival in the city of Paterson, right in one of our parks where everyone's flag is there. You can go to their table. There's information that talks about their different culture, different dishes are at their table. We're in the pandemic, so it's hard to do it. But I recommend, and maybe I'll push this, a cultural diversity day via virtual learning, where we come together, you have different speakers that can speak, and then you'll have the flags, they'll talk about their culture. But I think those are two great things that can be done short term, and then in the long term with the including of the curriculum, and as the mayor said, with the academy. So there's great things that are already in place. There's more to do. And I'm happy to work alongside of my council colleagues and even the school district on whatever they need. I'm a part of the education committee as well, and whatever is needed to ensure that there's an educational and an enlightening opportunity. I am definitely in support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilwoman. One more thing that I need to add, that not only Cultural Day, we want representation of all different cultures, but what Bengali community wants is that they want the 26th March on the calendar in the morning announcement that, when school should cover should mention that this is the day of Bangladesh Independence Day. And also, if we have on the calendar that we can also do some kind of activities. I'm not saying maybe as a teacher from JFK, I can do something, that's one thing, but district-wise, if we have on the calendar, then all the teachers would know, then this is the day we have to actually speak and touch on the subject that 26th March is Bangladesh Independence Day. So what can we do to make sure that it is on the calendar?
So let me say this, because I've been saying it for a couple of years. There needs to be the first Bangladesh on the school board. There has never been a Bangladesh school board commissioner. So I'm putting it out again to the public that there needs to be the first. There are so many of your great students in our school, but there is no one on the school board that is representing from your culture. So that's first. Secondly, is just a conversation with the school board commissioners, talking to school board president, Commissioner Simmons, and the school board, making the request, and they'll work together to get it to the agenda. So I think that's an easy thing to do. Secondly, I have it already written down. I'm going to talk to, in respect of my council colleagues, Councilman Shaheen Khalik and Councilman Abdelaziz, to do March 26th, Bangladesh Independence Day. I know the date is today. We have a meeting on April the 6th. So if you can get a bio to me or a backdrop of what the independence, what this day represents, if you could get it to me, I will make the recommendation to have it on the agenda for April 6th, and we will have it and we can get it done. I will make sure that I will sponsor alongside of Councilman Khalik and Councilman Abdelaziz and have the entire council co-sponsor that.
Thank you, Councilwoman. And Mayor Anderson, I'll come back to you with representation that we are talking about. Well, I'll come back to you. Let me go to Senator Nelie Pou. Senator, you just heard we are talking about the curriculum and adjustment. We are talking about the adjustment with the increasing number of Bengali student population in Paterson public schools or any schools in New Jersey. And what would be your role to make sure that our local leaders are, and also you were supporting them, to make sure that it is in the curriculum, like how Arabic is a world language subject, Spanish is a world language subject. Can it be, can we include Bangla language as world language subject in our curriculum?
Mm-hmm. So let me just say there's no reason why we could not do that. Certainly that takes multiple different partners in order for us to work towards that end. And you have all of those partners here, with the exception of someone from the public school system that really is the other governmental official person that can certainly look towards trying to make this happen on multiple levels. So you have every different branch of government or different jurisdictions, if you will, that can speak to that. I don't see why that cannot be achieved. Earlier or just before, you were talking about making sure to include the Bangladesh Independence Day in the city's calendar or the school's calendar, and how to celebrate that and make sure that the school officials are all fully making those proper announcements, so that the school population is certainly aware and have that awareness and conscious of what is actually being celebrated on that particular day. Especially in the city of Paterson, we have a tradition of trying our best to recognize other many different and other important dates and the commemorations of various people and cultures that make up the fabric of our diversity. Our Bangladeshi community has already contributed in so many ways, so it would be certainly reasonable and incumbent that we find appropriate ways to recognize the Independence Day as a means of celebrating that and honoring and speaking about the rich history and culture and the importance of that day.
Thank you, Senator Nellie Pou. And let me just, I think our time is heading up in 5 minutes. So let me go to my next question with an appreciation that we, Bangladeshi community, are thankful for the Shahid Minar, the Martyr Monument in West Side Park. Now, Bangladeshi living in the city of Paterson and the neighbor cities have another demand, which is demanding National Martyr Memorial, which is in Bengali called Sriti Shodo, honoring the people who have died in the War of Independence in 1971. And I know it's costly. Maybe it's a long-term project. But my question to all of you, and what can we do to make sure we have another monument that will honoring our people who have died during 1971? I'm going to start with freeholder John Bartlett.
Thank you very much. I'll go by Commissioner Bartlett, but you know me a long time.
Sorry to say freeholder.
I was really glad, Forid, when I saw that you posed this question in the message that you sent us ahead of time, because it really got me thinking a lot about how to really make something happen. We're incredibly proud to have funded from Passaic County the construction of the Shahid Minar in West Side Park. I love how the community has taken ownership of it and been part of the ceremonies there and done so much else there. I think one of the things, very honestly, that the community should recognize, whether you're talking about a language program or a Shahid Minar or anything else, very often this stuff doesn't start in government. It starts in the community. So taking language as an example, my wife is originally from India, and her native tongue is Gujarati. She speaks Gujarati as well as she does as a woman raised in the United States, because on Saturday mornings at the Mandir, she and her friends and classmates came, and there were parents there who taught them Gujarati. And it took those volunteer parent teachers, it took the commitment of the parents to get them to the Mandir on Saturdays to make that possible. But that language has meant so much to her over the years. In much the same way, you think about something like the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington, D.C., that wonderful black wall that is such a dramatic reminder of the pain of that time. Well, that's a federal government facility now, but the design competition that started it all off and the advocacy that made it happen was a private foundation created by Vietnam veterans. So a lot of this stuff will be at its best when it rises up out of the community. I'll give you one more example from the Indian community in Atlanta, which I know especially well because it's where my wife grew up. There's a statue of Gandhi at the Martin Luther King Center in Atlanta, Georgia. That statue is there because the Indian community in Atlanta raised more than $250,000 and spent years building relationships with the MLK Center, with municipal and county leaders in the Atlanta area. They made that happen through a tremendous amount of community commitment in the first place. So what I would say to you is, by all means, come to us with these ideas, but very often government responds to seeing something rise up organically out of the community, whether it's a Vietnam Wall, whether it's a Gandhi statue, or whether it's a language program. Think about the ways in which the community can build those things so that the groundswell of support is so visible to those of us that can then make it happen at the level of government.
Thank you, County Commissioner John Bartlett. Councilman Anand Shah, you might say Forid is just talking about Paterson, why not Prospect Park? But let me tell you, when we celebrate something in Paterson, we always include Prospect Park. We never see Prospect Park as another, place, but we feel like it's the same place where we all get together. So, Councilman, if anything comes up like this, that we need a monument, a national martyr monument, where we will honor the people who have died during 1971 Liberation War. What would be your step at that point?
Great question, and Commissioner, you're absolutely right. And Honorable Mayor, you always open us with open arms in Prospect Park, and we greatly appreciate the partnership, and as well as with the County Commissioner and Honorable Senator as well. Yes, I'm definitely in support for it. And I think County Commissioner Bartlett hit the nail on the coffin. Like he mentioned, for example, what happened in Atlanta. So what I would say is, hey, I would definitely talk to our county level, our commissioners, county commissioners, our state level, which is our honorable senators, and also see if we can get any kind of grant money to raise money as well. Grant, possibly raise. How can we raise money? I think the answer would never. I would never say the answer would be no or impossible. How can it get done? So I'm definitely in support of it. I'm definitely would move along with it, along with the partners as well. And any way I can help and assist personally, my doors are open as well. If it takes donations, raising, fundraising, grants, and working with our county leaders and our state leaders as well. And I'm definitely in support of it because, again, you guys had a hard fight. And I think the flag behind you speaks for itself. So I definitely do agree and support it. And you guys are also, Commissioner, you guys are also growing day by day. Now, like I mentioned before, not only in the city of Paterson, Prospect Park, Haledon, Totowa, Wayne, you guys are coming around and throughout the whole entire county like there's no tomorrow, which is a great, great thing.
Thank you, Councilman. And you were so close to the Bengali community.
Yes.
Until recently, I did not know that you are not from Bangladesh, but you are very close to Bangladesh. You're our very own Councilman Anand Shah. So anytime
without the Bangladesh community, I don't know where I'll be today. In 2016, you guys took me with open arms. I prevailed the election then, and I'll never forget that day. If you guys didn't accept me in 2016, I don't know where I'll be today. So I appreciate that from the bottom of my heart.
Anand Shah, one more time, I'm just quoting from Dr. Lilisa Mimms, "We are better together." So I'm going to go to Senator Nelie Pou one more time. That the same question I'm going to ask you, that if we have, in the future, and as of now, Bengali community, this is what they're demanded in the future. They want a monument, one more monument. So what would be how would you support, that proposal if anything comes in the future?
Sure. Well, first of all, thank you for the question. Let me just say, I think you've heard so many the speakers before me talk about this, but I will just reiterate that certainly, this sort of memorial deserves serious consideration. We've been talking about it for the last hour, but especially for some of the reasons that we've mentioned before, but also that it would take input and I just want to reference and reiterate something that Commissioner Bartlett talked about, that it all starts with the community, right? That it's important for that to be done. And I think it would take input from the community as a whole, a shared vision by community leaders and stakeholders. It's been said already, and certainly a lot of planning, including the design. I think, Commissioner, you yourself said It will take a lot of money, so funding would be an important component of that. That's been talked about on various different ways on how that might be able to be done. And, you know, the logistical challenges that would have to be met. There are a number of different things that you know, will have to be taken into consideration. But I think you know, the overall groundwork, whether it's community input, whether it's making sure that you have all your leaders and stakeholders coming together, the planning aspect of it, the design, the funding, the logistical, all of that put together with a group of people that are absolutely in complete total support of this will certainly be a great beginning and an important start to something that will no doubt will take time, right? And I think that was said, that it's a matter of, you know, it may take some time to do that. But if you don't ask, if you don't advocate, and if you don't plan today, it doesn't get done. And that is what is the important message overall.
Thank you, Senator. Exactly the same thing. Because of this reason, through the Channel 52, and I got all the great leaders together, and I feel like this is a great time for me to express the message. And I think from today's whatever we expressed here, maybe because of that, one day we are getting it, and we are hoping for that day very soon. So I'm gonna come to Mayor Andesai. I know Mayor Andesai, you would love to speak and you want to say something ending, but I'm gonna go to Councilwoman first, and I want to hear from you the wrap up. So Councilwoman Dr. Mimms, one more time.
And so there's a slogan that says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So I think Senator Pou and others have already said what I was going to say, but let me reiterate. I think you need to develop a committee and put it in place, which has everyone on the team. You have a steering committee of every person that will be involved in it. It's going to take a lot of work, a lot of ideas. You're going to have someone that understands what the design look like, as Senator Pou says, how much money will be needed, how much space, where will it be located. So it's going to take a lot of work, and don't just include your community. I would do it a diverse community, because the groundwork of having a lot of people involved gets you to the finish line. So that way people can understand what the importance of this monument is, why are you doing it, where is it being placed. Make sure you do all of the groundwork, a lot of planning, don't rush it. Make sure you do it in the time it's supposed to be completed in, and I'm sure that you'll get the support that's needed. But make sure you get the community involvement, because you can have a whole bunch of stuff on the table and never ask the community, and it will never get done. So make sure you get everybody on board, get them excited as you are, and then this will get to the finish line. As most people know, I'm a finisher. I don't start something and not finish. So I'm giving you some free points. Commissioner Uddin, you owe me later, but make sure whatever you start, you finish it. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
And thank you, Councilwoman. And if you have noticed that as an adjective, I mentioned that Councilwoman who is always ready to get things done, and that's you are, Councilwoman. And Mayor Andesai, let me tell you something. From now, 5 years ago, we never dreamed of Bangladesh Boulevard. A few years ago, we never dreamed of a permanent Shahid Minar in the city of Paterson. And of course, another monument is not impossible. What your final message would be?
I want to acknowledge that Commissioner Bartlett raised some very salient points as far as where a movement for a monument can emanate, right? Because it starts with a grassroots organization or a nonprofit organization. And he cited an example of Atlanta with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. We could cite an example in Paterson with the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. because we have a park in his honor on Auburn and Governor. And Habitat for Humanity partnered with the councilwoman of that ward, Ruby Cotton, and they made it happen. And in the end, we got the statue where it was because we called Senator Cory Booker to help us in the endeavor as well. So there is a point of reference. There's a relevant example of how we've made it happen here in Paterson. And as far as fundraising is concerned, a few years back, I was called by the leadership of the mosque Jalalabad on Ben Houghton because they're undergoing serious repairs, and I helped raise money for that reconstruction effort. And so if we do create a committee, it's right, Councilwoman Mimms, it should be diverse, but it should also include yourself, Anand, to a board, a statewide board, the Urban Enterprise. And Azi Alam is a tremendous resource, and it can be helpful in this endeavor. So it's the very least we could do. The government could be a part of the driving force to ultimately make something like a monument manifest.
Thank you, Mayor Andesai, and thank you, everyone. And thank you, the audience who are watching us. And we got so many messages. I was not able to read all of them because I had so many demands to our leaders. And that's why I missed so many messages. So those who are sending messages, thank you very much for staying with Channel 52. And I wanted to watch more and more Channel 52 because this is our channel. This is a channel which is located in Paterson. They're serving for Paterson. So this is our channel, very own channel. So I'm going to go to all of our, honorable guests. I want to hear the final messages from all of you. So I'm going to start from Senator Nellie Pou.
Thank you. Thank you again, Commissioner. Thank you for the invitation to be a guest on this important and special program, especially today. And I'm very happy to be here joining all of you as well as all of my colleagues, from Mayor Sayegh, from Councilwoman Mimms, from Councilman Shah, and from County Commissioner Bartlett. Let me just say that once again, I want to close by recognizing this day as not so much as a somber, but remembering the importance of that, but yet a proud time for the Bangladesh community around the world, and including our very own local community, and say that as a representative of the New Jersey Senate, I appreciate all the contributions members of our local Bangladeshi community have already made, including many of those that you've heard here today be spoken about and named, all of those individuals that are holding public office, and that and that will continue, not them along with the community, to make a future in Paterson and Passaic County and New Jersey as a whole, to make us all stronger and more vibrant, not only in the state of New Jersey, but all throughout the nation. And to each and every one of our listeners, today I say, let us celebrate the importance of the Bangladesh Independence Day. Thank you so very much once again.
Thank you, Senator. Thank you so very much for being with Channel 52 and being with Bangladeshi community on our glorious 26th March. I'm going to go to our Honorable Mayor Andesai.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I also want to acknowledge my admiration for Senator Pou's picture of the symbol of our city, the Great Falls. And that's why I switched seats to show off this painting of the Great Falls and Alexander Hamilton overlooking the symbol of our city. And I feel like that is symbolic because Alexander Hamilton was an immigrant with a vision. And many Bangladeshi immigrants have a vision when they come to this country. They want to be contributors. They want to contribute to the educational excellence that takes place in our schools. They want to also participate in the commercial activity that takes place in our business districts. And so that's why we have to continue to celebrate Bangladeshi history and heritage every opportunity we can. And so March 26th, December 16th, February 20th, all these dates that are enshrined in Bangladeshi history should be a part of American history, or being told in American classrooms, particularly in Paterson classrooms as well. And Forid, you are an excellent beacon of the Bangladeshi community. You, along with Firdos and Ozzy and Amber and Imran and Gilman and Farah and Anam, we're proud of all of you, but there's so many more, and those stories need to be told. As a matter of fact, yesterday I was in my office and my wife Farhana, which is a very popular name amongst the Bangladeshi community, we presented a scholarship, a private prep scholarship. Only 12 are given out in the country, and 2 of the recipients are from Paterson, and one of the recipients is Bangladeshi American. She's a junior at Harp Academy. Her name is Samina Ahmed, and we proudly presented her with a scholarship. And what that entails is that she will get free SAT training along with college prep, meaning she can navigate the system and finally decide which institution of higher learning best fits her goals. And so my parting message to everyone is that we'll continue to make history here. In made history. We appointed the first Muslim department head in the history of Paterson with Ayman Abushi as our corporation counsel. And so as we embark on the holy season, and this year we get an opportunity to finally celebrate Ramadan somewhat like we used to, I want to wish everyone a Ramadan Mubarak. I will see you at a community iftar, and hopefully I'll see you at City Hall on May 3rd. We open the doors of City Hall to our Muslim community to break fast. Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mayor Andesai, for everything you do for the city of Paterson, and everything you do for the Bangladeshi community living in the city of Paterson.
Commissioner, Commissioner Bartlett, I should get this for your birthday. This painting behind me, right, Commissioner?
Pardon? I would do that. Yeah, that's not the Great Falls, but I can't take credit for that. You got to get me something, Mayor, to put up on the wall. Farid, it strikes me, here we are on March 26th. This is now the second Bangladesh Independence Day that we've celebrated in a state of emergency due to COVID-19. And as much as I love coming together with all of you from my house and from your houses and not even having to put on shoes to be part of this, I look forward to the day that we can all gather together as we used to, whether it's for iftars, whether it's Fridays at the masjid, whether it's at schools, at the county fair coming up in August, or all the other times and places that we get together. I look forward to that. And I want to acknowledge, as we celebrate today, that this has been a very difficult year for a lot of people. And here in Passaic County, we are doing our best to provide the services and support that communities and families need. So if you, the viewers, ever have any questions about the county's COVID testing and vaccine programs, about the financial support that we offer for businesses and for tenants who are struggling to pay the rent, and landlords that are struggling to pay the mortgage because tenants are struggling to pay the rent because of this terrible economic tragedy that has come with the public health tragedy, know that those services are still being offered by Passaic County, and you should never hesitate to reach out to me directly at my email address and phone number, which are on the Passaic County website, to ask whatever questions that you may have. My role as a county commissioner is to connect you with the services and funding and opportunities that you need and that your family needs. So don't hesitate to be in touch. And I look forward to the day that we are all together again in one place and can really celebrate. Happy Independence Day.
You're right, County Commissioner John Bartlett. Thank you for being here with Channel 52. I'm going to go to our Council Vice President, Dr. Lilisa Mimms.
Thank you, Commissioner Bartlett. That could have been a commercial at the end. I really appreciate that. So Channel 52, Farah, Anand, thank you for this awesome program, opportunity to be able to communicate Happy 50th Independence Day to all of our Bangladesh brothers and sisters and to the elders of your great community. Thank you to Commissioner Uddin for doing this amazing job of hosting. You gave Commissioner Huck a break on tonight, but I'm sure she is watching. To all of the fellow panelists, Senator Pou, Commissioner Bartlett, Mayor Sayegh, and Councilman Shah, this has been a great night. Anytime we come together to dialogue, to bring all of our talent, skills, and abilities together to communicate our love and our appreciation for an amazing community that we have grown to become family. In Paterson, We have come together, we've eaten together, we've cried together, we've struggled together, and we've overcome together. But more importantly, we're better together. Thank you for this awesome night. I welcome and appreciate all the great things you're doing as we continue to embrace and understand each other's culture. It will bring us to 3 places: education, enlightenment, and empowerment. God bless you. Assalamu alaikum. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Councilwoman, for being here, for your time. And Councilwoman, one more time, yes, your quote, "We are better together." We want to see that our cities come together in to not to fight on the small thing, but to find a solution together. And Councilwoman, we need that very much, and we need to see that at the in the city hall. And we are waiting for that day. And I believe you can play a vital role in that case. So I'm not.
Soon.
Thank you. And last but not least, our very own Councilman Anand Shah.
Thank you, Commissioner. I want to thank Channel 52 as well. I think some of them, I just want to remind everybody, all the viewers and all our colleagues that are on, they were able to put this program together, if you recall, even with the fire in their studio that happened on Main Street in Paterson. Unfortunately, their studio is no longer there right now because of the fire, but they were still able to put the program together today and move forward, even without the studio because of the fire. So thank you, Channel 52, from the bottom of my heart, and for her that's always behind the scene. But trust me and believe us that we definitely appreciate you guys for putting this together. Commissioner, you did a great job hosting it. Thank you as well. I also want to acknowledge before we close out my colleagues that tuned in, which I got to alert our honorable, my senior colleague, Councilwoman Esther Perez, that has recently retired from school number 5 in Paterson, that has taught a lot of and educated a lot of the Bengali students in school number 5. And I know she takes the Bangladeshi community with open arms. So thank you, Councilwoman Perez, for joining. And also our school board president that also tuned in, who's Board President Niyaz Nadeem. So going back to some of the questions that Commissioner asked, I'm sure our board president listened, and I'm sure they're going to try to come up with a plan or start discussing it with our council colleagues, school administration, as well as our mayor. And I also want to acknowledge our school board vice president that joined us as well, that was tuned in, Daisy Gonzalez from Passaic Park. So I just want to thank them 3 because I did notice that they also tuned in. And I also, in closing, I want to thank the Bengali community entirely from the bottom of my heart. You guys are great people, hardworking, dedication. I have Bengali employees throughout my stores now. You guys are hardworking people. Keep up the great work. You guys are growing throughout the community, throughout the county, throughout the state. Your voices need to be heard. Not only on Bangladesh Independence Day, not only today, not only on March 26th, not only because of 1971. Life is short. Your voices have to be heard on a daily basis. Remember, we only live once. Right now, we're living through unfortunate times with COVID-19. Unfortunately, we're losing loved ones, families, neighbors, friends due to COVID-19, a vicious virus. But on a national level, we have help. We have partners on a national level now that are open-minded and understanding, open-minded, and help is on the way. Again, help from the national level is on the way, as some of you have seen already. In a short period of time, in less than 100 days, help and hope is on the way. And last but not least, they did not mention it, our Honorable Senator Nelie Pou and our County Commissioner Freeholder Bartlett and rest of their team needs to get re-elected this year to keep moving the progress moving forward. They are on the ticket this year. They are on the ballot this year. Sign the petition. Make sure we get the vote out in order to keep continuing the success to move not only on Channel 52, not only in the Bangladesh community, throughout the diversity community. We need them back in office. So I encourage, please exercise your right to vote. And I know we have our youngsters voting now. Per our chairman, when I talked to him a couple of days ago, he said over 1 million people had registered and voted from our younger community. That's great to hear. That a million people from the younger generation has voted. That's great data. Keep up the good work. And thank you all. May God bless each and every one of you. May God bless Paterson. May God bless Prospect Park. May God bless the United States of America. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Councilman. I do agree what you have said, and I request our CEO of Channel 52 to arrange another programs to connect, all our great leaders with our voters and our citizens. So I'll wait for that event definitely, and we'll talk more on our agendas, what we have on our plate to do for our constituents. And here, one more thing I should mention that our CEO, Channel 52 CEO Anand Chowdhury, and his wife, Farah Hassin, they are doing amazing job, especially to host the cultural events. And Channel 52 is a great place where we can see the more, expression of our Bengali cultures. And this is the only platform we have as of now. No one have ever done that much, how much our CEO, Anand Chowdhury, and his wife has done so far. So I thank them for everything and thank them for make me part of Channel 52 and making me host of the day today.
And Commissioner, if I could add to that, remember our CEO, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, and our elder was on the ventilator, affected with COVID-19, positive, was on the ventilator, hospitalized for about 2-3 weeks, pulled through with God's glory, pulled through, and still has Channel 52 today, without the studio on fire, on the ventilator, and still making progress because they want their voices heard. And last thing I want to say is thank you to all our viewers that tuned in for the last hour, not only throughout the county, throughout the
Commissioner
state,
Uddin,
throughout the country.
if I may, I want to dovetail on what High Energy Anand Shah said.
Thank you, Mayor. And I want to thank the viewers throughout, not only throughout the county, the state, I know throughout the country and internationally.
Let me
the
dovetail
viewers
on
have
what
logged in
Councilman
and been
Anand.
hearing us. Well, thank you to the viewers as well.
Thank you, Councilman. Thank you, our honorable guest. And thank you all the audience who are with us. And again,
Commissioner, if I may, I want to dovetail.
Mayor, are you there, Mayor?
Mayor, you might be breaking up. I'm not sure.
Mayor, you're breaking up. Can you hear me, Mayor?
Mayor, you're frozen.
Yes. I don't know if anyone can match Councilman Anand Shah's.
I appreciate that, Mayor. Thank you.
Me?
You're breaking up, though, Mayor.
Can you hear me now? I think it was Anand Shah's energy that made me freeze here. Did you hear that part?
I definitely can say that, but we understood what you were trying to say, Mayor, and thank you.
He likes to eat fresh.
That's right.
So, Commissioner, if I may, I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you, because we've been talking about Anand Chowdhury on a ventilator, but Commissioner Forid Uddin drove elderly Bangladeshi residents of Paterson to our vaccination site at International High School and made sure that they got vaccinated. I want to encourage every Patersonian to come to International High School. We have walk-in hours set aside for Paterson residents, and we do accept people from Prospect Park as well. We want to encourage you to come down because we did receive the good news. Thank you, Senator. We're getting Johnson & Johnson next week, so that'll make it a little bit less complicated with not having to worry about another dosage. It's a one-shot deal, literally, as far as the vaccination is concerned. So starting next week in Paterson, we will have Johnson & Johnson administered to the members of the general public.
Very important.
Absolutely. And Commissioner, if I want to add one more thing to dovetail on Mayor Sayegh, and I promise this will be the last. In closing, on all your questions that you asked today, remember, life is short. We only live once. Whenever we come up with ideas, it's their way, our way. Let's meet in the middle. Let's meet in the middle and move on. That's how we get things accomplished. Not one way thinking. We need to meet in the middle. Sometimes give a little bit more, but let's get the job done by meeting in the middle to move the progress that we continue to keep doing, not only in the great city of Paterson, not only in the great city of Prospect Park, but throughout the county level and the state of New Jersey.
Well, let me just say this, because I know that we stated that Anand was on the ventilator. We cannot forget that his wife was sick as well, and that she is well. So let's not forget, you know, I'm a female, let's not forget the women. I'm always going to be reminded of that. There's so many people that have overcome, and we're grateful for Anand, but let's not forget his wife who
That's right.
overcame as
Right.
well. Thank you, Commissioner Uddin. I will give my time.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
very much, all of our special guests, and I say we can appreciate enough for your time for being with Channel 52. We'd like to see you many more times with Channel 52. And I'm thinking, you know, I should appreciate our audience of Channel 52 being with us. And here's the thing, that when CEO of the channel asked me, can I host the program? And I asked her how much time. He said 20 to 30 minutes. Trust me, I did not know. So we spent hour and a half already. So thank you, our honorable guests. And let me tell you something, there's no title without blood. And unfortunately, we lost a lot of our kinsmen during the Liberation War in 1971. And those are watching, and all the Bangladeshi community living in the city of Paterson, living in the United States, and the entire world, happy Independence Day. And good night, everyone. Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you
all.
so very much.
Happy Independence Day. Ramadan Mubarak.
Yes.
Anand Shah.
Yeah.
Move to